The Mamba mentality has left a mark. Shout out to the NBA legend, Kobe, and your daughter, Gigi. From Tom Brady to Drew Bledsoe. Rain, sleet, or snow, I grind. I am clutch. I am the difference maker.
Clip it. Let's go.
I am the game changer.
Welcome to another episode of the Game Changers live on the Right Way Sports Network's YouTube channel. I'm your host, CEO of the Right Way Sports Network, Malik Wright, joined with my co-host. We've got Daniel, Jake, Aiden, and we've got Cody joining us here in a bit. Still a little bit of computer issues, but I want to remind you guys, follow us on all our social media platforms while we got you here. You can follow us on TWSN on Twitter, TWSN on Facebook, TWSN on Instagram. We love interacting with you guys, love having great conversations. And yeah, with that being said, guys, we want to get this party started. I'm gonna start this up with just I want to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers really quickly. We don't got too many basketball topics. We're gonna touch on them, and then we're gonna touch on the Warriors. But I want to touch on the Los Angeles Lakers, and I want to officially say the Los Angeles Lakers are in trouble. Los Angeles Lakers they've got to be one of the worst teams in basketball right now. We've seen them spoil several big leads earlier this season. It seems like they can't learn to win without LeBron. They can't win with LeBron. LeBron is showing stages of him being old. So I want to kick this all over to Aiden. Aiden, I know you and me, we had a great talk last week, right? We did a little bit of a TWSN special where we did the show. I want to hear what your thoughts are. What are your thoughts on the Los Angeles Lakers? What do you make of the Lakers consistently fumbling leads? The Lakers consistently just looking old, right? I know LeBron had that whole hashtag Wash King thing going on. And no, I'm not here to say LeBron is washed. Not what I'm here to say. What I am here to say is that the Lakers look bad, man. What are your thoughts, Aiden?
No, they do. They look really bad. They've actually had one of the easiest schedules in the NBA so far, too, which is something to keep in mind. Faced the Thunder twice, lost to them. Narrowly beating teams like the Detroit Pistons and the San Antonio Spurs. This Lakers team, though, they've had a lot go wrong for them. LeBron dealing with an injury, gets suspended for a game. But that's just an excuse to me, because even without LeBron, you still have Anthony Davis, who's one of the most talented players on this planet, but he's not aggressive. It comes in spurts. That Celtics game, first quarter, the Lakers, that was their best quarter easily. And if you saw something, Anthony Davis played fantastic in that first quarter, but then after that, he goes back to being that, I don't even want to say laid back, but just not assertive Anthony Davis. And the Lakers lose every single quarter from there on out, and they spoil the lead. Anthony Davis seems like the X factor for this team, because if he's playing hard, well, now you have two fantastic players. If LeBron's got an off night or he's not playing, Anthony Davis can step into that number one role, but he hasn't showed me he can do it consistently on a true contender.
I agree. Cody, you want to touch on this?
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted, buddy.
Oh, man. What are we doing, man? My technology. I'll tell you what. I'm going to take all the winnings from the TWSN Patreon and spend them on a new laptop. It's something ridiculous, but go subscribe. But health matters in the NBA. Like it very legitimately does. And oftentimes the teams that find themselves still playing basketball in June are the teams that are the healthiest. And the Lakers have not been able to stay healthy. And quite frankly, they're not showing me anything that they're going to be able to stay healthy as they progress through the season. LeBron James missed 71 games in his first 15 years. He's missed 71 games in the last 3 seasons. It's a big deal. And LeBron's mortal. He's the greatest basketball player of all time, but he is mortal. I mean, the dude's going on year 18.
Yeah.
He can't be playing, and for him to go out and have to play 80 minutes over the course of 2 games in order to get 2 wins, that's not sustainable for anybody. So the Lakers have a lot that they need to work on, and quite frankly, I don't think Anthony Davis is all that. I mean, Russ has improved off of his early season struggles, but he's still not a game-changing superstar, in my opinion. Like, he can't carry this team. So I don't think they come out of the West. I really don't. I think the Suns are better, and I think the Warriors are better.
Anthony Davis is has to be one of the softest big men I've ever seen play the game of basketball. And that was said to me, I want to say a couple of years back, but you're seeing more and more evidence of it as the season goes on. Jake, do you have anything you want to touch on and say this before we move to the next thing?
Yeah, look, we talked about this, before the season started, about how the Lakers built their team this offseason, 9-10 new players, their entire roster completely revamped than what it was last year with the team that was broken by April and May, and they came to the playoffs totally injured, and they never had a chance. They built this team to be okay without LeBron. If LeBron were to not play, they would be okay, with the assumption that Anthony Davis would play like one of the 6 best basketball players on the planet. The Lakers have played 23 games. A lot of those were without LeBron. I believe over half have been without LeBron, maybe a little less. Anthony Davis has led them in scoring 8 times. That's unacceptable for someone who we consider to be one of the elite players on this planet just a year ago, years before that. This is why they got Anthony Davis, because not to, have him be LeBron Robin, but to be a superstar in this league, to have 2 superstars. He has not been that this year. He's been awful from mid-range. He's been terrible from the 3-point line. He has not been a elite basketball player by any stretch. Their defense has gone noticeably down than compared to what it was the last 2 years when Anthony Davis has been on the Lakers. They have some serious problems now, but they're getting some injuries back, and LeBron can't stay on the court, which is a problem in itself. But, there's a reason why they play basketball in October and November. It's to get ready for February and March. So we don't need to completely write them off, but they're hovering over 500 right now. They have a couple bad losses. LeBron looked good when he came back from that injury. Now he's in the next 9 or 10 days. We'll see when he comes back. But when he's not on the court, they look very, very broken, is the word I would say.
Danny, you want to touch on anything with that?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is they have to figure out how to get this team to gel, because if they can't, then you have to make a move, whether it's, throw LeBron at the point guard, throw Russ off the ball. Russ isn't working as the point guard right now, whether it's, with LeBron or without LeBron. Something's got to change. So whether it's, Anthony Davis finally stepping up and becoming a superstar because he hasn't been that guy, or changing something up and letting LeBron run the point, letting Russ play off the ball, because it's not working the way it currently is.
I have my own opinion about it. I think Russ has actually looked good the last 2 weeks, personally. He's shown that defensive prowess a little bit more and more. It's just more so. It just seems like I personally think it's a Frank Vogel issue, if you ask me. It doesn't, consistently playing DeAndre Jordan alongside AD, having Malik Monk come off the bench when Malik Monk is absolutely lighting it up when he's on the floor. To me, that doesn't make sense. Avery Bradley shouldn't be starting over Malik Monk. I think Melo has looked good in his spots when you're asking him to, be a bucket, so to speak. Melo has definitely looked good, but I think if we're talking about it, I don't want to put the blame on Russ. This is not a Russ issue. No. It's a Frank Vogel issue, in my opinion. But I want to keep it going. The next question I have is, why are the Warriors so damn good? It's something to It's almost like a little bit frustrating, because like you look at the Golden State Warriors and you're like, okay, they don't have Clay, who other than Steph Curry, who do they have? Well, you're getting some consistent play out of so many guys like Jordan Poole, Bielitsa, Draymond Green has always been very, very good for this basketball team. But I mean, it's just like, I think Otto Porter is coming off, Otto Porter is hitting threes, and it's like, man, how dangerous is this team going to be when they get Klay Thompson back? Aiden, I know you watch basketball, man. I know you're a big basketball guy. What do you think? I know the easy answer is Steph Curry, right? That's the easy answer. Steph Curry is the best basketball player in the world, or that's what a lot of people say right now. That's the hot thing to say. What do you think is it makes this Warriors team so scary, so great?
Well, obviously, as you alluded to, the main answer is Stephen Curry. He's the best player on the planet, especially with LeBron banged up right now and everything. Steph Curry's insane. But right now, this team is shooting the three ball in an extremely high clip. I think they're top 5 in three-point attempts and three-point percentage right now. And their ball movement has been exceptional. It's been amazing. I think over 70% of their field goals have been assisted on. And that leads the NBA by about 7%. Their ball movement has been absolutely fantastic. There's a lot of chemistry here. The cohesion's amazing. And Klay Thompson isn't even back yet. And we can say what we want about Klay Thompson coming off of 2 injuries, but this is a guy who's never relied on his athleticism too much. It might hurt him defensively, but he's still going to be able to shoot the basketball. He just provides more spacing, more off-ball movement. Yeah. He's going to help this team. So the Warriors right now, again, the three-point shooting, the defense has been all right as well. And again, the ball movement has been absolutely fantastic. The chemistry with this team is just amazing. And so, combining that chemistry and talent, they're one of the, if not the best team in basketball right now.
Cody, I'm sure you have a take on this. What do you think makes the Warriors so dangerous?
Look, I love Sensei's comment here. Steph, Steve, and the culture. No, people don't talk about Steve Kerr enough. He is, in my mind, one of the top 5 head coaches in NBA history, and I'd say he's approaching on top 3. I mean, obviously, everybody's going to talk number 1 is Phil Jackson because the dude has 11 rings. And then Pat Riley and Greg Popovich, and I think that might be it on who I would take over Steve Kerr. The dude's a winner. He understands winning basketball and what it takes to gel not only guys on the court, but off the court. They work well together. It's unbelievable. So I truly think you give Steve Kerr some of the worst rosters in the NBA and he can turn them into a winning franchise. He's that good. He just happens to have a great roster in the Golden State Warriors and some great guys in Draymond Green and Steph Curry who really mesh well together. So it's kind of a little culmination of both, right? You get the Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. You have the Steph Curry and Steve Kerr. They're both great at what they do, but Steve Kerr, I think, is underappreciated.
I just think you're overrating coaching in the NBA. That's my opinion, right? And first off, I mean, I look at the team last year, and I think, first off, Steph Curry is a huge part of this, but they have depth. Everybody is playing elite defense. They're one of the top rebounding teams in the league. They're moving the ball. They play so efficiently. And yes, Steve Kerr has been a big part of it, but I'm sorry, there's 5 guys on a court, and this is just basketball versus NFL versus any other sport. I think head coaching is very overrated. And why not last year? Why weren't they a playoff team? Like Steph Curry, Cody, what happened last year? That's my question to you.
They had a ton of guys hurt. Steph was on and off the floor at the beginning of the year. They had a ton of guys hurt. They were playing Wiseman a ton of minutes who was not ready for it. I think this team is more polished, more cohesive. And obviously the front office plays a lot in that as well, bringing in the right guys, but it's a totally different team. And even then they were still on the verge of making the playoffs with missing their best player a good portion of the season and missing in my opinion, the best pure shooter in basketball and Klay Thompson, and him and Steph Curry are 1-2. I mean, and they still were close. I mean, they made the play-in tournament.
Yeah, I just think that, it's a lot of it has to do not only with Steve Kerr, but just with this team as a whole. Andrew Wiggins playing out of his mind. Jordan Poole, like we saw yesterday, he's been one of the best players on their team. And they just have a team full of guys. And it's the ball movement, it's Steph Curry. So I think it's a lot more, it has to do with their team as a whole,
Jake, any thoughts? I know you love Steph Curry.
I'm just waiting for them to cool down. It hasn't came yet. Look, they came up a little bit short last night, but they're really, really good and they're really, really scary, man.
Ethan, that's cool that he did that on November whatever it was, November 30. What was it? 30th? Yeah, it's cool. It's cool that he did that the last day of November. Will he be doing that in the playoffs? The fact of the matter is, I've seen this Warriors team come down, being down almost 30 in a game and then literally make it look like easy clockwork, just hitting threes out of the gym. The fact of the matter is that's very, very cool that they did that, but the Warriors are still the hottest team in basketball right now. Even though your Suns look really, really good, Ethan, I must say your Suns, what are they, the 16-game winning streak now, something like that? They're going to cool down. Especially we'll see what happens with Devin Booker being out for the next couple of weeks. But guys, we want to keep it going. College football is in a chaotic state right now. And the title of today's show is College Football Chaos. And it's just that, right? We've got coaches leaving, coaches, moving on to different opportunities. And before we dive deep into, the coaches that have left, the Lincoln Rileys of the world, the Brian Kellys of the world, I want to just ask a general question. And Jake, I'm going to start with you. I'm being nice to you today. I'm letting you talk. The question is, what are your thoughts, right? What are your thoughts on college football coaches just abandoning ship like this?
Yeah, well, the system's broken. It's been like that for years, and a lot of teams don't have a choice. USC has an opening. Florida has openings. LSU has an opening. This was bound to be a chaotic 48 hours since 2 months ago when those jobs became open. But the system's been broken. And what I mean by that is in about 2-3 weeks, there is a national signing day. There's 2 national signing days in football. It's the only college sport that has 2. So in December, these teams need to fill their head coaching vacancies, or the amount of recruits that they're going to lose is massive. Because of that, teams are forced to make hires before the season actually ends. It's different in the NFL because coaches who are still in the playoffs may lose on opportunities because they do interview, but they can't sign the dotted line because their team's still in the playoffs. Sometimes, there's some intricacies where they get hired and it leaks, but normally if your team's still in the playoffs, you're not taking that job until you get eliminated. And college is not like that. So as far as abandoning, I'll say this. Everybody has a price. Like, everybody has a price. And Joel Klatt said this on the herd yesterday, where, it just happened to be that Lincoln Riley was, not the puppet, but like the experiment, because he gets a $110 million contract forced right into his face. Oh, I have to take this, right? And normally it's interesting because we're seeing, we see mid-majors or like middle tier, top flight teams in conferences like, I don't know, UCF or something like that lose coaches. But we're seeing Notre Dame lose a coach, Oklahoma lose a coach. Those are 2 of the 6 best programs in the country. It's absolutely wild. But I'm not disregarding Brian Kelly leaving. I think, look, at times you could argue that, he's abandoning his team, but for $100 million, everyone has a price, and he's getting a better job. You can say all you want about the fit, but he's going to win 11 games every single year. I don't care how bad the fit is. He's going to win, and he already has won a lot, and he's going to do a lot of winning at Notre Dame or at LSU. And Lincoln Riley is going to turn USC back into the epicenter of college football.
So, Daniel, maybe you can answer the question for me. What are your thoughts on college football coaches abandoning ship?
Yeah, of course. I don't know. I mean, like, I saw Harrison posted something out on Twitter yesterday, and it was kind of, like, oh, everybody has a price similar to what Jake was saying. I disagree. Like, yes, everybody has a price, but okay, listen, you fought with these guys. You worked your tails off. Like, it's deeper than that. You're devoting your life. You're devoting your trust, your heart, your everything to these players, these athletes. They're believing in you. And yes, obviously everybody has a price. Okay. But to tell these guys something day in, day out for the past month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, a year, people take that, like, they respect that. But okay, if you're just going to go turn your back on them like that, and then they learn about it on social media, and then you give one final goodbye, I'm sorry. Like, that's something, like, I respect how you're going to better your career. I respect what you're going to do for yourself. But if I've devoted my time, my hard-earned time, it's similar, like, to like a company, right? If you work at a company and you devote your time to people, I'm not just going to turn my back on them in a day. There's got to be like another reason. So I just, for me, I don't like it. I think it's tough to turn your back on the people you've worked with for the past year and do that in the blink of an eye.
I think that I personally I have a very unique take about it. I understand people wanting to do things for the betterment of themselves and their families and things of that nature. Totally get that. However, do you guys ever think about how many players probably didn't reach their potential all because a recruit came into a school thinking a coach was going to be there when they got there, coach decides to up and leave, kid doesn't want to enter the portal again and things of that nature, so he stays committed to that school that he originally was with, and then a new staff comes in and coaching staff doesn't believe in him. That's a very real thing. That's a very real thing that happens in college football on a consistent basis. So I don't know. Sometimes I think about how much talent is, falls through the cracks, so to speak. How many players actually didn't reach their potential, all because the original coaching staff that recruited them wasn't the coaching staff that they ended up with. So to me, I think it's, to be completely just be frank with you, I think it's shitty. I think it's not cool. I think something college football needs to fix. I understand. Again, people wanting to do what's best for them, but it seems to be no loyalty. Then you got coaches coming out saying, players, having issues with players entering the transfer pool when they are doing the exact same thing for themselves, right? When they're not getting opportunities and things of that nature. Cody, I'm actually curious to hear your thoughts, though.
I disagree 100%.
Okay.
I'm going to be very honest. That school, you lose 2-3 games at LSU, you lose 2-3 games at Notre Dame, and you're on the hot seat. You can get fired at any time. They fired Clay Helton halfway through the season when USC had a winning record. Mm-hmm. They don't owe those schools anything.
Oh, interesting.
Now, I will say this. There's a difference between what Lincoln Riley did and what Brian Kelly did, because Notre Dame has a chance at a college football playoff spot and Oklahoma does not. But they don't owe those schools anything. It's a job just like anything else, right? And I understand it's, you put in your 2 weeks or whatever. That's not how college football works. And you can't
blame, that's why we're discussing it.
Yeah. But you can't blame the coaches in this. It comes down to LSU is a school that values winning over everything. It is winning over everything, always has been, always will be. They announced that they were going to fire Coach O with 3-4 weeks left into the season, right? A month into the year, right? They did Coach O a service by not firing him then and there, because they absolutely could have. If he did not win a national championship for them in 2019, he would have been gone immediately when they announced that. They did him a service by letting him stay. Clay Helton did not get that same service. He was gone and immediately, right? These schools value winning over everything. Brian Kelly is paid higher than 26 of the 32 NFL head coaches. Why would you stay? You have no reason to stay. And I understand that he's leaving them in the middle of a possible college football playoff team. That's different because you didn't win one at Notre Dame. But Lincoln Riley, what do you got to play? Your one bowl game? And then what? What's the difference between leaving now or after?
I don't think anyone's discussing right now, the intricacies of who did what. We're not even talking about Lincoln Riley and Bryant. We're talking about just the overall college football coaches in totality. Abandoning ship, right? I'm simply saying
Lafayette's coach left early for Florida. Like this, this happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's not,
but it's still something we're discussing though. It's still a topic, right? On today's show, and that's regardless if it's what goes on. It's a flawed system. It's wrong. It shouldn't. I personally don't think it should happen. It's not, and it's not about not because you shouldn't do what's best for you. It's about these kids. It's about the kids that are actually committed to you. That actually you sit in their house and you commit yourself and you say we're going to do this. And the same thing happened to my brother. So The fact of the matter is, listen, I understand where you're coming from, Cody. I'm just simply saying the system is flawed regardless. We know that it is the system. We don't need you to say,
I agree. Because it ain't about kids.
Right.
It's about
what do you mean? They're the ones that are playing. They're the ones that are playing. Those are the
that AD sitting there and goes, I really hope these kids have a great time at the university.
Those are the ones that are making the program. It has nothing to do
with winning football games makes the program.
Exactly. But if you're gonna get individuals, you're gonna get kids committed to those schools, right? Listen to what I'm saying. and you're going to sit in people's homes, right? You're going to sit in people's homes. You're going to visit them. You're going to spend X amount of times on the phone with them. Tell them, hey, you're going to be used like this. You're going to fit into our program this way or that way. It's fucked. It's wrong. It's messed up the way that it currently is. Regardless of how you feel about that, right? Being a Notre Dame fan, I'm simply just saying it's a flawed system in college football. It is not right because the fact of the matter is, you're right. But it's also about these kids, is what I'm trying to say. Because those are the people that are.
It's not.
It is though.
Notre Dame's head coach is not going to get paid about how the kids do. But Nick Saban is not getting paid for how them kids do. They get paid to win football games. They don't get paid.
And who's playing in those football games?
Cody, Cody,
and who is playing in those football games?
I understand.
So who's playing in those football games? You said it's not about the kid. Who's playing in those football games? Please answer my question.
I understand that, but
please answer my question.
Athletes.
Please answer my question. Please answer my question.
It's a business. It is a business. What's the difference between this and the NFL?
Just answer my question. Who's playing in these games that you're talking about?
The kids.
Thank you. There we go. Jake, what are your thoughts?
So look, look again, yes, obviously the players play in the game, but what never really gets talked about in college football is any recruit who doesn't go to either Alabama or Clemson knowingly. Let's just say 4-star, 5 stars, because what if we're talking about a 3-star? He's a 3, whatever, But we're talking. Okay, Brian Kelly has X amount of 5-star, X amount of 4-star guys that he just left. They committed to him and he left. But if you're a top recruit that does not go to either Alabama or Clemson, you knowingly go to that school with the expectation or possibility in the back of your mind that in your 4 years there, if your team disappoints once, that head coach you just committed yourself to very well might get fired. And there's only 2 coaches that can say that no matter what they do, they will not get fired. Those Dabo Swinney and Nick Saban. And I think Kirby Smart in about 3 weeks might join that group if he does win the national championship. That's it. If Notre Dame had a down season, because Brian Kelly was on the hot seat 2 or 3 years ago after getting blown out twice in the playoff, he was kind of on the hot seat. Then he kept winning 10 straight games every year like he does, like one of 4 coaches who does that. He's absolutely amazing. So, again, he doesn't owe anyone anything. It just happened to be that he was the first one to actually be in playoff contention that got offered a job. If Lincoln Riley got the Cowboys job two years ago, he was out of there. He was gone, but he never even interviewed because he doesn't really want to be an NFL coach. So he never took the interview. Just never happened. But now Brian Kelly was just the first one to actually take the job while in a playoff spot. But any coach would have done the same exact thing. It just looks bad because Brian Kelly is kind of an asshole and no one really likes him. He can coach. So that's why LSU gave him $150 million.
Hey, I'm actually curious to hear your thoughts on it.
Okay. So, listen, I like what Matt just said in the comments, and that is the coaches do owe something to the players who have committed to them, and those are the guys that are putting a product on the field. I know the coaches give them all this information, and, they help develop these guys, these players, these kids, whatever you want to call them, but they are athletes trying to achieve a dream, and the coaches do help in that way. But as Malik said, guys you go sit in their homes. They go commit to you, to your program. A lot of the time does come down to the coaching staff. So when a coach does go ahead and leave, which we see happen all the time, especially this year in college football, yeah, it stings a little bit. Overall, the system's flawed. I get it for the coaches, though. So I'm kind of in the middle here because, as Cody said, Brian Kelly is going to get paid, higher than 26 NFL coaches. If the money's there and you're on a bit of a hot seat where you currently are, I don't blame you for leaving. So I see both sides of the spectrum, but overall, there are definite flaws in it.
And my thought is if you want to go play for a coach, then go with him. Go with him. Transfer portal's wide open. It's more open now than it has ever been. Malachi Nelson committed to Oklahoma, 4-star quarterback, 5-star quarterback, was arguing to be like the next Spencer Rattler and Kyler Murray and that whole group.
Cody
said, I'm just going to go with Lincoln Riley to USC. See ya.
The biggest thing, I don't think that matters because it's still the fact that the coach is leaving the players. That's the biggest thing, right? It's the coaches leaving the players. And yes, it's for a better opportunity. Okay. But it means something the time you spent with those players. It means something.
Of course it means something.
So and that's all I'm saying. And that's all I think. That's all we're saying. Because it's kind of getting overblown. People are kind of not realizing, okay, these coaches, yes, they care for the players, but why would you just the whole time you spend, you just leave them like that? That's the only thing. It sucks for the players that they took all that time, did that for the coach, and the coach leaves them in 1 second.
Well, you can tell coaches who really care about their players. There was a video went semi-viral on Twitter this weekend. Matt Campbell at Iowa State's head coach, who is a guy who could be promoted into one of these big coaching jobs. A video went viral of him hugging his seniors on senior day, and a little bit of tears were shed. You could tell the difference. I'm not saying that there are multiple ways to coach football at the collegiate level. Brian Kelly does it entirely different than Matt Campbell or Nick Saban or Dabo. All of them coach their players differently. Mel Tucker's another great example. All of them coach their players differently. I don't think there's not all of them are capable of winning football games. Now, is there a more morally right way to do it? Maybe. But that universities don't care about that. They care about winning football games. So as long as you are a winner, it doesn't matter if you are a good guy. Urban Meyer has shown that year in and year out. I mean, the dude's on his third prime coaching position as an NFL head coach, former coach of a Big Ten powerhouse, former head coach of an SEC powerhouse. I mean, left in disgrace for both of his first two jobs. It's not like there are different ways to get it done. At the end of the day, if you win, no one cares. If you lose, people care a lot. And that's why why Notre Dame fans are upset is because Brian Kelly is the winningest head coach in Notre Dame history and doesn't have a national title. Lincoln Riley, one of the winningest coaches in Oklahoma history, does not have a national title, has never made it to the college football playoff finals. Winning cures all. And if Lincoln Riley had won a national title and then sailed off in the sunset, we'd be having a different conversation. But he didn't. And it's Louisiana Lafayette, their head coach, brought them to one of the most winning seasons in program history. Now he's going to Florida. So it is what it is. It's part of that doesn't make it. There are right and wrong ways to get the job done. All that matters is that you get the job done.
Want to keep the conversation going, guys. So keeping it in college football, we aren't going to touch too much on the way these guys left because I feel like we've done a good job of that. But simple question. I don't really have an opinion on it, but does Lincoln Riley resurrect USC? USC's kind of been
Oh, they are so back. I'm so excited.
I'll start. Looking around college football right now, there are the Pac-12 footing where, North California and then Arizona. There are tons of elite athletes that leave that area and go to other programs like Clemson, their quarterback from California. CJ Stroud, Northeast, from California. Spencer Rattler went to Oklahoma from Arizona, and rumored to maybe go back to California, either SC or UCLA. But now that Lincoln Riley is in USC, I think that's going to happen slightly less. Obviously, teams like Oklahoma, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Florida State, they're still going to get their guys. But USC has struggled to keep their own superstars. Kayvon Thibodeau went to Oregon from as close to USC as you can get. He went to high school about 15 minutes from me and didn't even consider USC. He was just straight up, I'm going to Oregon because Oregon's a better program than USC. Not anymore. What Lincoln Riley is going to do at USC is he's going to take advantage that they have the single most amount of resources that more than any program, even Alabama, I could argue, has. They have so many resources, the history, tradition, their footing, revenue, everything is at his feet. He's going to take it. He's going to turn them into an offensive juggernaut. He's going to hire someone on the defense who's going to take USC's defense back to where they were in the early 2000s. I've never been more confident in anything in my entire life. They are so back.
Yeah, and it's great for college football because be blatantly honest, the Pac-12 has not been relevant for a while. Oregon has had some solid years, but even at Oregon's best, they've always been a 1-2 loss team. We haven't seen Pac-12 dominance since the Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush days. And it's good for football because when you have five, they call it the Power Five for a reason. It's honestly been the Power Four the last couple of years. I mean, look, Cincinnati is having a better season than anyone in the Pac-12 has had. So it's great to see some of this. Now, it stinks for the Big 12, especially if they are going to lose Oklahoma and Texas to the SEC, but that's a whole nother conversation. But this is good for college football. That having Lincoln Riley in USC is good for college football. It will make it more exciting. We will see more of these incredible primetime historic games. I mean, we still talk about the USC Texas national championship between Vince Young and Reggie Bush. So it'll be great. Lincoln Riley will bring some stud talent in there. And he has a proven track record of, hey, if you play for me, we can get you to the league. That he's had tons of players be able to do that. I mean, his quarterback list alone is unbelievable. So I think it's great for college football.
All right, we're gonna move on, guys. We're gonna move on. I feel like this news has sort of been overshadowed this week due to all the crazy college football coaching moves. But props to Michigan. Props to Michigan and Harbaugh. You know, they finally overcame the big dog and big brother, so to speak, in Ohio State, and they defeated them. And you know what's funny? I was having a conversation all week with my buddy Matt. I was even talking to Aiden about this, and I said I couldn't shake a feeling that Michigan was going to beat Ohio State. Me and Aiden, we did a show last week, and I said I have a funny feeling Saturday is going to be an upset as well. I don't know. This year just felt different for Michigan. You know, I think Oregon sort of showed people, put a blueprint out a little bit on how to beat Ohio State, running the ball down their throats, because regardless of what they've done the last few weeks, Ohio State does not have a great run defense at all. They don't have that good of a run defense. And the fact that they were able to go out there and just control the game by running the ball down their throats, man, hats off to Harbaugh finally getting that monkey off his back, man. You know, it was bound to happen, and it had to happen, right? If you hear for, you know, all throughout the week, all throughout the years, you know, regardless of how great your season is, if you don't beat Ohio State, then it doesn't really matter. And I was just so happy to see Harbaugh. Harbaugh's one of my favorite coaches, even when he was in the National Football League. I've always loved the guy. I always thought he got a bad rap. I'm just happy for him, man. I'm happy he was able to get that monkey off his back. But I'm curious to hear what you guys' thoughts are. Daniel, you've been kind of quiet about over there, man. I know these guys are talking, so let me hear you. What were your thoughts on Michigan getting that illustrious victory over Ohio State?
Honestly, I mean, heading into the game, I'm not too much of a big college football fan, but heading into the game, all right, Michigan, they're at home. Okay, I'm just curious to see how this game goes. They controlled the line of scrimmage. That was it. Their defensive line was controlling line of scrimmage. They were running the ball, and it was pretty much that simple, right? It was cold. It was a rivalry game, and everyone is expecting Ohio State, you know, riding this hot streak. I think 97% of the bets were on Ohio State. Everyone was riding Ohio State, but it just goes to show how a rivalry game, and if you can control the line of scrimmage, any football team can win. And that's what they did. Their defensive line, we saw Aiden Hutchinson put his name on the map. Right now, people are saying,
"Oh, wait, hold on." He's been putting his name on the map.
But as the number one,
Aiden Hutchinson is a freaking
as the number one guy in the draft.
No, he's not. That's
people are saying right now. People are saying
Kayvon Thibodeau. Are you crazy?
It is a closer conversation now than what it's ever been.
Right now.
Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yeah, it's a conversation.
Listen. Kayvon Thibodeau has this guy beat by a mile.
No, I agree. But right now, I've heard people saying, you know, after that game, okay,
they're foolish.
And I agree. But okay, their defensive line stepped up and that offensive line. So that's the biggest thing. They controlled the line of scrimmage. That's why they won the football game.
Hold on. I just really want to say this. Kayvon Thibodeau is a problem. Like he's a problem and a half.
Yeah.
I've never seen, I don't know if I've ever seen, you know, an offensive line sort of shift their entire offensive line to avoid one guy disrupting a game plan. Cody, I'm sure you watch a lot of college football. I've seen Kayvon Thibodeau come into the game and literally just wreck it after missing an entire half because of because he got he was suspended or something like that for the first half of a game. His team was struggling defensively. He gets in the game, he absolutely just starts obliterating guys, double teams. I mean, they got running backs chipping him and tight ends chip. This guy is an absolute freak. So I want everyone to hear this. No, we are all Kayvon Thibodeau stands here. Kayvon Thibodeau is a problem. He is the best player. He's the best player in this draft class. Yes, Kayvon Thibodeau is the best player in this draft class. Cody, moving away from the Kayvon Thibodeau talk. What were your thoughts on Michigan taking down the mighty Ohio State?
It makes me incredibly happy to see a team just embrace who they are. And when you think Michigan, you think power, you think like dominating defense, you think a team that wants to run the damn ball. Like it was incredible to watch. And that's exactly what they did to beat Ohio State. They ran the football. They played great defensively. Their front seven was incredible. They put the pressure on Stroud. Aiden Hutchinson had 3 sacks against an Ohio State offensive line that was touted to be pretty good before the season. They whooped them. They physically beat them at every position, and it showed. Yeah, and it showed, and it was incredible to watch. Honestly, I love the game every year, and this year absolutely did not disappoint. It was a great football Saturday.
But did you get the feeling that this year was different for them, or am I just tripping? I really felt that this game was different for Michigan all year. I said they're going to beat Ohio State. They're going to beat Ohio State. So much so, my buddy was like, "Hey, you should put it on your bet slip." I said, "Nope, I'm not." He was like, "You should add Ohio State." I said, "No." I was texting one of our guys here at TWSN, not going to say any names, but I said to them, I said, getting a little bit of a feeling about Michigan this week. They said, text me when the first quarter's over, because when the game's pretty much done. So I tried to tell people. Michigan was different. People wanted to write Harbaugh off. Now, this person hates Harbaugh, but at the end of the day, I saw this coming. I'm just very proud of myself for a second, guys. I'm just patting myself on the back.
Yeah.
It would be incredibly Michigan for them to lose to Iowa this weekend.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Don't sleep on Houston this week either. Do not sleep on Houston beating Cincy this weekend, but that's just me. But continue.
You said it feels different. It was different. Like looking at this Michigan team throughout the whole year, it was clear that this is most likely Harbaugh's best team. And for anyone, like I get why people might not like Harbaugh because of his time in the NFL or whatever, his disappointing years at Michigan, whatever. But to say that he is one, ever been on the hot seat, or 2, has failed at Michigan, it is just completely wrong, because he is a bad spot and a dropped punt away from making the college football playoff probably twice, most likely winning at least one Big Ten championship, and having a more successful resume than any coach in the Big Ten history other than Urban Meyer. So that's some of the stuff that's gone wrong for Jim Harbaugh over the last
let's
5
actually
years.
talk about that for a second. He actually was on the hot seat. He actually was on the hot seat.
I don't think he ever was.
No, he was.
I don't think they were ever going to fire him.
There were a lot of people calling for Harbaugh's job. The talk in Michigan throughout the last year, especially with this contract coming up, and I think the athletic director's name is Manuel or something like that. I don't know his name, but exactly. But there was a lot of calls for Harbaugh's job, because the frustration from a lot of people at the Michigan brass was he could not beat Ohio State. That was a very real thing. He needed to beat Ohio State, literally, to keep, like, for his job. Even this contract extension that they recently gave him wasn't really a contract extension. It was like some BS thing, just to pretty much just keep him in the fold. But this year was super important. It was extremely important, and it was so significant because this is probably the best Michigan team he's ever had since he's been there. So I mean, Cody, it looked like you're about to say something. What are your thoughts?
No, I don't know if he was necessarily that much on the hot seat, but I do think, I mean, he had to take a pay cut essentially to stay at Michigan. And I think that was more so Michigan's expectations were entirely too high rather than, and that I say that as the fan base and the brass and the whole 9 yards, their expectations were too high rather than Harbaugh was failing. I mean, if you look at Harbaugh, he's been incredibly successful in his time at Michigan. Mm-hmm. They just weren't as good as Ohio State, but you can't compare. There have been 2 programs in the country who have been as good as Ohio State over the last 5 years, and that is Clemson and Alabama. You can't you can't compare that
Roll
because
Tide.
that is such an aberration. It happens so rarely. And even then, I think we're about to see a college football playoff where Ohio State, Clemson, and Alabama won't be in it. So Harbaugh's been very
Stop it. Stop. Okay? Stop. We're not doing this. We're not doing this today. We're not doing this on this show. We are not slandering Alabama. I will not. Listen.
Georgia.
Wait till next week when they win. They're winning this
Georgia
game.
by what? Georgia by what? Georgia by what?
They're winning. They're
Georgia
winning
by
on
14.
Saturday.
Who's winning? Who's winning?
Georgia
Alabama.
by 14.
Alabama's winning.
Bro,
Alabama's
they
going to
went
beat
to
Georgia.
quadruple
Alabama's
overtime
going to
with
beat Georgia.
Auburn.
It doesn't
What are
matter.
we
That's
doing?
the Iron Bowl. That's your right. Like that's
Okay.
We're going to beat you.
Anyway.
Listen, who has no. Anyways, I direct this show. I'm the point guard. I go person to person. Listen, the fact of the matter is, who has Georgia beaten? That's the great thing about the Game Changers. We switch up the game and we go for top. Who have they beaten? Clemson. Who have they beaten? Who have they beat?
They've look.
I'm talking to Cody. Cody, who have they beat?
Oh, well, let's pull up the schedule.
It doesn't matter who they've beaten.
It does matter.
Yeah, they beat Clemson.
It does matter.
They beat Arkansas by 37, who Alabama beat by 7. They beat
fine.
Auburn by 24, who Alabama beat by 2 in quadruple overtime.
That's fine.
They beat Kentucky, who's 25th. They beat Florida by 21. It looks like who Alabama beat by a touchdown. Then they took Missouri, Tennessee, Georgia Tech out behind the woodshed and absolutely obliterated them.
Guess what? But we aren't them. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh yeah,
We're
I know.
Bama.
They're only going to win by
the
14
thing.
instead of multiple.
Like, look, I actually do think Alabama's winning this game, but I think Georgia's winning the national championship. Alabama is nowhere near the team Georgia is, but some weird things happen in college football. And look, Georgia has allowed 10 or less points in less than half, like in more than half their games this year. They've done an four or five times they've allowed less than double-digit points. They've had multiple shutouts, and good teams who have either gone to Athens or hosted Georgia have been broken in their next couple games after playing Georgia. That's what playing Georgia has done to teams this year. It broke Clemson, for Christ's sake. It broke Kentucky. It broke Florida.
Clemson was already broke.
Look, it's not going to break Alabama because
no, it's not. Because
we're
built by Bama. We're built by Bama.
Nick Saban has had Kirby Smart's number in the past,
so I do
think Alabama's going to win this game. But I think Georgia's still going to win the national championship.
Don't think that either. Bama built. Let's go. And Bryce Young's taking home the Heisman Trophy award.
But can I say one more thing about Harbaugh?
God, he's not.
Sure.
Actually, never mind. It's okay.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I just think I don't think Harbaugh was really ever on the hot seat because because winning this game.
We moved on.
What?
No, but go ahead.
Like when this win over Michigan or over Ohio State feels very similar to the 2007 win over USC when Harbaugh was in his first year at Stanford and he beat USC as a 40-point underdog. He completely changed that program. He's won everywhere he's been. They were never going to fire him, but for his legacy, you can certainly say that he needed to beat Ohio State, or else maybe his time in Michigan would have been a little bit of a letdown. But he got it, and he's probably going to win the Big Ten, go on to the playoff, maybe make a run at a national championship. But he certainly needed it. But he was never going to get fired.
Yes, he was. To Cody's point, I remember following it extremely very closely. Had he not taken a pay cut, there was a very likely chance Harbaugh was not going to be the coach of Michigan. The fact of the matter is, he was on the hot seat. A lot of people were calling for his job, and they felt that pressure so much so that the athletic director had to give a press conference talking about how they had a meeting with Harbaugh before the recruiting process stopped because he actually there was a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation that he wasn't going to be there, and a lot of the recruits' parents were asking Harbaugh. They wanted clarification on it, and Harbaugh had to meet the athletic director, and they all had to sort of just reevaluate things and remap out things. So Harbaugh was definitely on the hot seat. He did take a pay cut to stay at Michigan, and good on him for taking this victory. But we want to keep the conversation going. We will move it to the NFL. Aiden, I'm gonna let you start this one off, my man, because you have been quiet as a mouse over there, buddy. I'm gonna start by asking you a simple question, Aiden, and you might love this question actually. Who's the best team in the AFC?
Okay. Right now, I think. Okay. Right now, sorry, you just laughed, and I knew. All right, no, I knew where you were going with that, but. Right now, I think the New England Patriots are the best team in the AFC. Does that mean I think they're going to come out of the AFC? No, I don't think that's going to be the case this year, although they'll be competitive. They might make the AFC Championship. They're one of the better teams in the AFC in the long run. But right now, 6-game winning streak. I know the Titans were a little dismantled with injuries, but that's been the way most of the year, and they've still won, again, a large majority of their games. The Patriots are playing really, really, really good football right now.
Really?
Mac Jones just had his worst game of the season, and they still looked good because the run game came alive in the second half. The defense has been playing outstanding, and I think that's the biggest reason, honestly, that they are the best team in the NFL currently, because their defense has been insane.
Wait. I said AFC. You said NFL just now.
Apologies, because they're not the best team in the NFL.
Okay, I didn't think so
AFC,
either.
that was my bad. But because obviously the NFC is a lot more top heavy. I take teams like the Bucks and Green Bay. But AFC, yes, right now it's the Patriots, and as I was talking about their defense, it's just executing on all levels. They're not allowing scores. The other teams aren't putting points on the board against them. They're getting a ton of takeaways. It's an insane amount, to the point where I don't think it's sustainable, unfortunately. But this is a really good, well-rounded team. Do I think they'll come out of the AFC? No, but they're currently the best team in the AFC.
Jake scoffed when you said that, so I'm actually really curious to hear what Jake Circus has to say about. He literally said this to you, Jake. What are your thoughts on what Aiden said?
I'll answer right now. I'll have the same answer next week, because Buffalo is going to give New England the whooping on Monday. I still right now it's Buffalo. I would say they do statistically have the best defense in the league, even though looked a little bad against Indianapolis. Whatever, it happens. They have an elite offense. They have the best defense in the league statistically. I'll take Buffalo with the expectation that they're going to play to their expectation, because they haven't done it the last couple of weeks. But New England's the hottest team in the league, sure. But what? They've beaten the Jets twice. They beat Carolina. They beat Cleveland. They beat Tennessee when they had, like eight skilled players out. And like the guy they signed to be their fourth wide receiver wasn't even there because he's signed with the Lions. And I didn't even know about that until halftime. I was like, where's Josh Reynolds? Oh, he's in Detroit. I didn't even know that. So yeah, they have those wins. Good for them. But we'll see what they're really made of going on the road in Buffalo Monday night.
Well, this is what I'll say to that. Again, right? I said I take the Bills in the long run, honestly, for the season. And it's pretty close.
Well,
right now, the
Chiefs
hottest
in the
team in
long
the
run.
AFC is the Patriots. But they're not going to get a whooping. They might lose to the Bills. I'm taking the Patriots to win that game. They might lose to the Bills, but it's going to be a good game. The Bills are not going to whoop the Patriots. It's not going to be a blowout. That just won't be the case. Josh Allen this season has been prone to big mistakes. And what do the Patriots do best? They'll just force you to make mistakes, because what they do is they sit back, they run the football, they execute correctly. There aren't a lot of mistakes on this team. They force you to make the mistake first. And again, with Josh Allen this season, they've typically been big ones, and the Patriots, they execute off those. They take advantage of that. At the end of the day, you can tell me the Bills are the best team. The Patriots have only beat so-and-so, whatever. They beat the Jets earlier in the season. And to me, the Patriots season is broken up into two parts. You have the pre-Houston Texans game and the post-Houston Texans game. Ever since that Dallas Cowboys game, this team has started to click. Because those first 4 or 5 weeks, whatever, this team was starting, obviously it's a brand new roster. They signed all these free agents. They had the most COVID opt-outs last year. Those guys are coming back. Everything, it just took a little bit of time to gel, and now things are all clicking on every which cylinder. And they've had some easy wins, sure, but like they played well against the Chargers. The Chargers played well in that game, and the Patriots still came out with the victory. They played the Cowboys really close. I think the Patriots are legit.
Aiden said mac and cheese. Let's go.
Jeez.
They're legit. I just think Buffalo's better top to bottom.
Yeah,
Buffalo's better in the long run.
Wait, hold on. Let's let Daniel talk. Hold on, Daniel, go ahead.
Listen, right now, I don't think anybody can deny they are playing the best football in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, they are. And yes, you can look at their schedule. They played the Falcons, yes. They played the Jets, yes. They played the injured Browns, yes. They just played. They played the Panthers earlier. Yes, I understand it's been kind of a cupcake last 6 weeks, but they're playing the best football in the AFC and potentially in the NFL right now. So I'm curious to see Monday Night Football, how they play, because I'm telling you, if they go into Buffalo and beat the Bills, next Wednesday is going to be a great show. I can tell you that because I'm of the believer right now the Bills will beat them. I think it's in Buffalo. The Patriots, they've shown that against the Saints, if they play from behind, they have a little bit of issues. Mac Jones, maybe he makes a mistake or two. But as Aiden said, the best thing that this Patriots team does is capitalize on mistakes. And if Josh Allen throws one pick early in the game, if they fumble the ball, if they have more than 2 turnovers, the Bills will lose that game.
Cody, let's bring us back to reality. What are your thoughts?
Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are hot. I do think, looking at the rest of their schedule, that they will end up as the number 1 team in the AFC. Now, that does not mean they are the best team in the AFC. It means they have the easiest schedule going out and one of the better records. But I really do think that the best team in the AFC right now, I don't think anybody's beating the Patriots as it stands right now. But I don't expect them to stay this hot.
All right. We're going to move on to the next topic, guys. And that topic is, well, it's not really even a topic, more so a statement. It's time for Seattle to blow it up.
Man, it'd be crazy if somebody said that on the show 2 weeks ago. Somebody should have said that.
You said 2 weeks? I've been on this for 2 years. Yeah. How do you think I feel?
Where the receipt?
How do you think I feel seeing Russell Wilson literally not only running for his life, but now he can't even complete a pass. He can't even target DK Metcalf. Pete Carroll is like 87 years old. The game has passed him by. He should have been fired 2 years ago. Since the Super Bowl, what has this team done other than lose a bunch of playoff games and get exponentially worse as Russell Wilson continues to make more and more money every single year? Like his AAV salary keeps going up and the Seahawks keep going down, and it's a Pete Carroll thing. It has always been a Pete Carroll thing. It has never for a second been a Russell Wilson thing. Since Paul Allen died, Pete Carroll has been given way too much freedom. He's been given way too much impact on day-to-day personnel decisions. He has botched every single major decision this team has had to make for 3 years running, and the last decision he had to make was which offensive coordinator to bring in to revamp this offense that sustained a down year last year after winning the division, losing to not even Jared Goff. They lost to the backup quarterback for the Rams at home. Every single decision he's botched. Last decision was which offense coordinator to bring, and Shane Waldron has done nothing this year. He's been awful.
Tell us how you really feel, Jake.
Well, the good news is Seattle doesn't have the chance to botch their draft pick because they're currently sitting at 4.
That
and
too.
the pick belongs to the New York
The
Jets.
decision was the Adams. Botched that horrible trade.
It's how it stands right now. The draft is actually hilarious. From 4 through 8 or 4 through 9, it's Jets, Giants, Eagles. Yeah, like that. That's absolutely unbelievable to me. But man, Seattle needs to blow it up. It's time. It's time. It's been time.
Danny, you got any thoughts on that?
No, I agree. It's sad watching that team, man. Like I'm so used to seeing Russell Wilson do what he does, but targeting DK Metcalf once before the fourth quarter. I don't know if that's offense coordinator. I don't know if that's Russell Wilson. You can't target your best player once. I'm sorry. Tyler Lockett is a great receiver too, but your best player, give him the ball. There's a reason why you guys lost that game. And yes, Russ had Russ he led the drive at the end of the game, but you can't target DK Metcalf once. I'm sorry.
Lockett didn't get targeted this entire second half. It was DK who got 0 targets in the first half, and Lockett didn't get any in the second half. What are we doing here? Yeah. They can't run the ball. I get Chris Carson losing him sucks, but we've seen teams lose starting running backs and continue to be able to run the football, not just the same, but sometimes even better. Why can't run the football? 3 years ago, Pete Carroll did a great job in 2018 rebuilding the team on the fly, and they became the most run-heavy team in the league, and it got to the playoffs. But again, another first-round exit that year. And then since then, they haven't been able to run the football. They've been still running the ball a lot, and they can't do it.
Yeah, it doesn't make it schematically. They're broken offensively. For sure.
Like, that's where the whole let Russ cook thing comes from, because they kept running the football. It didn't work since 2018. It did in 2018, then 19 it didn't really work. And like, that's where the whole let Russ cook thing came from. And now he's playing hurt. The offensive line, they still have not figured that out yet. We see teams like the Bengals and the Chargers figure out their offensive line with their young quarterbacks. Why can't Seattle do that? Like, it's been a complete mess for like 3 straight years. And it's a Pete Carroll thing.
Well, with that being said, guys, we're going to move on to the next topic. Week 12 takeaways. Really briefly, because we have to get into our Week 13 predictions, which we're going to speed through. Let's give me your week your takeaway from this past week really quickly. Jake, we're going to start with you.
Oh my! There's a lot. I'll say this. I'll go back to the Bengals. I think the Bengals are for real. And what I mean by that is they're going to be a really tough out in the playoffs. I do think they'll make the playoffs. And look, Malik, you said this last night on the show you were on, that you feel bad for the team playing them, and it's really hard to disagree with that. They're going to have a ton of upcoming, interesting, crucial AFC matchups, including this Sunday against the Chargers. But they're going to be a really tough out. They do a lot of things well. And looking at the scheme of I'll just go to the AFC. They're the only team without a true weakness. Like, maybe their only weakness is the coaching, but the coaching's been unbelievable this year. Like, you can't knock them for that right now. So I don't know what their weakness is. Maybe cornerback too. Like, that's really it. Like, the offensive line's really good. The defense has been playing really well. And since the bye week, they've been again a top team. Like, they had the 2-week high stretch against the Jets and the Browns where they didn't look at themselves. But they settled into the bye week. 2 great wins on the road against Vegas. Teams have struggled playing in Vegas this year. And then throttling the Steelers. Like, they're good. They're really good.
Aiden.
3 weeks ago, I wrote the San Francisco 49ers off after dominated by Colt McCoy and the Arizona Cardinals when they were 3-5, but they picked up 3 wins since, 2 big ones against the Rams and the Vikings. They're 6-5 right now, sitting in the 6th seed. The NFC wildcard spots are absolutely wide open, and the 49ers are on an upward trajectory right now, so I may owe them an apology sometime soon.
Super Bowl back on.
Wow. Cody, your thoughts?
I think the Broncos have a legitimate chance to make the playoffs. They're currently sitting at 6-5. They play the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football this week, which should be a great game in Arrowhead. And look, they absolutely have a chance. They end the season with the Chiefs again at home, but they play the Bengals at home. They play the Raiders, who have been up and down all year, and they play the Lions at home. The Broncos absolutely could end up sneaking into that 7th spot in the wild card in the AFC, and I would not be shocked. They're a lot more legit than I thought they were, and they dismantled the Chargers this week, ran all over them.
Daniel.
Biggest thing is Browns and Steelers, both quarterbacks. I don't think will be on the team next year. Baker Mayfield injured, a lot of issues. I just think that relationship's done, and Big Ben was shot. Like, there was a lot went into that game, but don't see either of those 2 quarterbacks being on their teams next year.
All right. And with that being said, I'm gonna let Aiden take this over as we do a quick speed through for our predictions for this upcoming Sunday.
Yeah, so like we've done in past weeks, we're just going to go around the table. We'll go Cody, Daniel, Jake, myself, and then we'll let Malik round off every pick. Just give your pick real quick. We're going to start with Thursday Night Football. Cowboys at Saints. Cody, kick us off.
Taysom Hill, come on. Yeah. I kind of like the Saints at home in this one. I mean, Cowboys won a wild game on Thanksgiving. Give me the Saints.
Yeah, sorry. Give me the Cowboys. Everything, though, betting-wise, I'm telling you, bet Taysom Hill. His rushing yards only 37. Bet Taysom Hill, but Cowboys coming off a loss. Give me them against Taysom Hill.
Jake?
Oh, yeah. I know what game we're talking about this time. Great game. It'll be fun. Betting-wise, the Saints are going to get too many points. The books are going to overvalue or undervalue Taysom. Bet the Saints on the spread. I like Dallas in this spot still. bounce back on the road. They're the better team. They'll get it done. Saints have looked awful for
Line's currently
years.
4.5.
Yeah, that's too many points. It'll be close, but Dallas wins.
Yeah, I got Dallas bouncing back as well.
Yep, Dallas.
Moving on to a divisional matchup, Colts taking on the Houston Texans. Cody, who you got?
Yeah, Colts. So for some reason, the Colts seem to eat in Houston, and I think this weekend will be no exception.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor bounces up back off of a rough game last week. They're 10+, 5. Give me by 20. Colts win this.
Colts 8.5-point favorites.
Yeah, hammer.
Colts. I love Carson Wentz.
Colts.
It's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster. Trust me.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I know.
Colts.
All right, moving on to another divisional matchup. Vikings taking on the winless Detroit Lions. It feels like they should have a win at this point, but of course they just can't find a way to win. Cody, is this finally the week?
Do I do it, Daniel? Do I do it? Is this the week? It sucks because I got to take the Vikings here. I have to take the Vikings
Thank
here. I don't
you.
want to do it, but I have to take the Vikings here. In Detroit, doesn't matter. Give me the Vikes.
I'm going to take the Vikings, but this game's going to be close. The Vikings have been atrocious on the road against the spread. It's a 7-point spread. This game is going to be close. Divisional game. I'll take the Vikings, but I'm telling you, it's going to come down to last possession.
Jake?
I agree. Lions close. Oh, sorry, not Lions. It's going to be close, but Vikings will take it. 7 points, too many in this divisional matchup. That's one of my best bets.
Skull.
Patreon.
Skull's going to win.
Vikings.
Yep, I agree. It's going to be a competitive game, but I'm going with the Vikings. Moving on to Giants at Dolphins. Both teams coming off a victory. Cody, who's going to ride their winning streak, extend their winning streak, I should say?
The Dolphins. The Dolphins are sneaky, like kind of a hot team. Tua has looked good the last couple of weeks. I think it's like maybe we were a little early on Tua. Through 16 games, now officially played 16 games in his career, and he's looked pretty solid. So, despite having a miserable offensive line, but Dolphins get it done. Their defense is far superior to whatever the Giants have.
Give me the Dolphins. No Daniel Jones this week. Pretty sure he's out for the week. Dolphins defense has really surprised me the past couple of games. They've really stepped up, and Tua's looked good. Tua's done what he had to do. So, give me the Dolphins.
Yeah, I'll actually say that the first nice thing about the Dolphins I've ever said, like in the last 12 months, they're playing really well. I had them as a 4-point favorite, even if Daniel Jones was playing. So betting wise, love the -4 there. But yeah, give me Miami. I don't think the Giants are good. They were just in a really good spot against Philly, and me and Malik correctly predicted that. But they're not good. Dolphins might actually be decent.
Fins up. Give me the Dolphins.
Dolphins.
Malik, you're undefeated on Giants, or predicted every Giants win so far.
If Daniel Jones played, they would have won this game. But he's not playing. Freddie Kitchens is a better play caller than Jason Garrett, and I believe Daniel Jones got his weapons back. Don't get me wrong, Dolphins are playing good ball right now, but I still believe that it seems like Daniel Jones tends to do well on the road especially against defenses he's not expected to, but he's not playing, so it doesn't matter this week. So,
right. Okay. Moving on to another divisional matchup. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. Cody, who you got?
Bucks.
Bucks.
Yeah.
So we're all
Bucks by a lot. Yeah, but Bucks by a lot.
We're all on Tampa Bay this week. All right, good. Moving on to Eagles at Jets. Eagles coming off a loss. Their win streak has ended. But Cody, can they get things back on track?
I do believe they get things back on track. That being said, this is one of my favorite bets of the week. I'm taking the Eagles, but I got a great play on this game. Give me the Eagles money line for sure.
Yeah, I'll side with Cody here. They're going to bounce back. The divisional game they lost. Jalen Hurts, Jalen Reagor dropped 2 passes. They look bad, but them against the Jets. Give me the.
This was interesting. I'll take Philly. Again, the Jets aren't a very good team. They were just in a really good spot against Houston. But this line has actually been taken off the books and opened at 6.5. It's going to come down. Sharps are on the Jets here. But Philly will win. It's going to be close. I still don't think they're very good. I don't think this is a good football team.
I have it open right now. Jets are at +7.
If you have it at 7, I'd hammer the crap out of that. That's a lot of points.
Either way, I'm taking Philly on the road to get a bounce back win. Malik, what about you?
Put that on the Patreon. I don't know about this one just yet. I think you guys are sleeping a little bit. But go ahead. Go to the next one, Aiden.
I wish.
All right.
I
Cardinals
wish I could
taking
fade
on the
Philly.
Chicago Bears. The Bears picked up an ugly Thanksgiving win. Cardinals are still banged up, but they're playing very good football. Cody, are the Cardinals going to continue this fantastic start to the season?
I think Kyler Murray is back this week. I think DeAndre Hopkins may be back this week. And last time I checked, the 85 Bears have not come back. So give me the Cardinals.
Yeah, give me the Cardinals. I don't think this is close. Bears look decent on Thanksgiving, but Cardinals far superior team.
They are the far superior team. I'm going to go a little off the books here. Love the Bears to cover. I think that they sneak one out here. NFL is weird. This seems like a really weird spot for Arizona on the road playing in Chicago. It's going to be cold. They normally play in a dome. Give me Chicago close in this one. I like the spot. Love the 7.5, but I think they get this one outright.
I'm going to go with Arizona.
Arizona.
All right, moving on.
Own soldier.
Chargers at Bengals. This is one of the better games of the week. 2 2020 quarterback draftees, Joe Burrow versus Justin Herbert. Cody, which of these 2020 draftees is going to prevail?
It's going to be the Bengals, and it's not going to be because of Joe Burrow. It's going to be because the Bengals run game matches up so well with the Chargers. Their outside zone has been one of the best facets of bringing back Frank Pollock this year. It has looked really, really great. Brian Callahan has done a great job of schematically making that work. Joe Mixon's going to have a career day. So give me the Bengals.
Man, I already had a career day last week.
And he's going to do it again.
Yeah, man. A couple of us will be at the game. I know I will. With Malik. And,
is everybody here going to be at the game except for
Cody?
Aiden?
Oh, you're not going to be there?
So,
Aiden's got school on Monday. Damn it, Aiden.
yeah. Right. You want to write me, Cody? Can you write me a note and maybe?
Bro, I will send you an absence note saying, "Hey, from a guy that I talk football with on the internet said I don't have school on Monday." So,
give me the Bengals. Chargers. I've liked them a lot, but listen, their run defense is going to get completely gashed. Bengals are far superior team. Give me the Bengals.
Malik, I'm so sorry. This spot sucks. And I am 3-1. The Bengals are 3-1 when I pick against them this year. I'm gonna take the Chargers. It's gonna be wet. It's gonna be rainy. Winning 3 straight. I love this team with all my heart. I think they're gonna lose this game, still get into the playoffs. But give me the Chargers and a heartbreaking win for the Bengals.
Yeah, this is a bit of a tougher game, but I'm going to go with Cincinnati. As one of my main reasons is what Cody said. Their run game. The Bengals have been running the ball amazing this season. Joe Mixon's looked amazing, and the Chargers stopped the run. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Cincinnati at home.
The thing about this is, Jake, I don't listen to you when you talk about the Bengals. You're not 3-1 when you talk about the Bengals. You have bet on the Bengals a lot this season, and you've been wrong a lot this season about the Bengals. Yeah. But no, it's not false. But want to keep it going. Here's the thing: the Bengals are going to win this game, and it is going to be because of Joe Burrow. The fact of the matter is, everybody, we already know what the chart. Everybody knows the Chargers knows what their biggest flaw is, right? They can't stop the run. So they obviously know the Bengals have resurrected their run game after the bye week. And what are they going to try to do? Load the box. So that's going to leave more opportunities for Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Now it's going to be a rainy game. I'm looking at it right now. It's not going to be anything too crazy and too significant, I don't think. But the fact of the matter is that the Bengals are a better team right now. I mean, I think Justin Herbert really struggles against the blitz, and I think this Bengals defense is going to have a nice little game plan, whipped up for him. And the fact of the matter is, even if it is a rainy game, like Jake says, it's going to be rainy, wet, and all that kind of stuff. Like he says, it plays into the hands of the Bengals. It literally plays into the hands of the Bengals because this Chargers offense is very high octane. Again, Bengals fans, get out of your fears. Let it go. This Bengals team is different. It's not the same Andy Dalton-led Cincinnati Bengals. Trust. Aiden, go to the next topic now, please.
Jaguars at Rams is our next game. And I know they're on a 3-game losing skid, but are we all in agreement on got an upset?
Yes.
You have an upset, or we're all in agreement? Sorry.
No, well, if we're not in agreement, we need to have a talk because
The Rams stink. Like they'll win this game. But the Rams stink. They've got issues, and we'll probably talk about that next week. But like they've got issues.
All right, so we're all in agreement. Good. I'm going to move on to this is actually a sneaky good matchup. Washington football team at Las Vegas Raiders. Not sure how close the game will be, but I think it's one of the tougher games to predict on the week. So I'm interested to hear everybody's thoughts. Of course, though, starting with Cody.
yeah, give me the Raiders at home. Give me the Raiders at home. They've done a solid job in Vegas so far this year. I think that continues.
Raiders at home. Washington looked good. Antonio Gibson, I'm telling you, he is going to light up the league. But the Raiders at home, they, as Cody said, they've been pretty good. Give me them.
Yeah, I'm surprised this might be actually unanimous. I love the Raiders at this spot. They get, 4 extra days of rest. Washington coming off multiple emotional victories, 3 emotional victories in a row. Give me Vegas here, extra rest at home. Love it.
If there's one game this week that I might flip, it might be this one, but I'm actually going to go with Washington. I still don't trust this Vegas team.
I actually like that. I like that pick a lot, but I'm not there with you, Aiden. I'm going to Raiders. The Raiders.
It's a tough game to predict. But moving on to an AFC North matchup, AFC North showdown. Neither of these teams looked great last week. It was the Baltimore Ravens heading to Pittsburgh to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger and that crew. We just saw lose by 30-plus points. But again, as I said, neither team looked great last week. So, Cody, who's going to get the bounce-back game?
Man, this has to be a Patreon one for me. I love this game.
I wish I could say the Patreon for this one. This game,
You
I
could,
don't
you could.
know.
You could say the Patreon if you want, because I know exactly who's going to win this game.
I can't bet against Lamar Jackson, but this is a divisional game. Is this one in Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
In Pittsburgh.
I'll take
Baltimore,
I'll take
4.5
the Steelers.
favorites.
I'll take the Steelers here. Both teams look bad, but Steelers are going to bounce back. Najee Harris will have a big game here.
Yeah, I mean, look, just looking at the spread, it's 4.5 right now, and if that game last week didn't happen, this game would be under a field goal. So the 4.5 is magnificent. Mike Tomlin is amazing as an underdog, even better as a home underdog in his history. I think the Steelers take this one outright. I don't buy Baltimore one bit at all.
I'm taking Pittsburgh as well. I think Mike Tomlin team loses that bad. Now they're coming back home, another divisional game against the Baltimore Ravens. I like the Ravens. I think they're a bit better team than Pittsburgh in the long run. But this week, I think the Steelers will win at home.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to beat the Baltimore Ravens. All that the Pittsburgh Steelers have heard this week in the media is how Pittsburgh is soft. Pittsburgh is this. Pittsburgh is that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mr. Jackson. Woo! Because the Steelers about to prove they are for real. Now, they're not really real, but they're going to be real in this game. And I think it's going to be a really, really tough day for Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson still can't read NFL defenses. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of defenses. I don't know why. Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't know why the Browns went away from what has been working against. Have went against
Chubb had 7 carries. 7.
Yeah, like I'm not even talking about from an offensive standpoint. I'm talking from a defensive standpoint. That cover one sort of like a umbrella look on defensive that they run against Lamar Jackson and force him to make a perfect pass. I don't get why they went away from that. Maybe they just wanted to they wanted to pin their ears back and rely on their guys. But no, the guy literally has proven he can't beat that defense. So just do that against them, So the fact of the matter is, the Steelers are going to win this one. TJ Watt is going to have a day. A day.
Like the old.
If TJ Watt plays, he's out with has
right.
Yeah. So Alex Highsmith, give me Alex Highsmith absolutely obliterating Villanueva.
Either way, like this new Steelers team, like the old Big Ben, old man Steelers with a lot. Like, they have a lot of talent. They've played really well in the overcoming adversity role. Like we saw last year, them going into the year, no one liked them at all because they were terrible in the second half. They got blown out in the playoff game, and what do they do week 1? They beat Buffalo, and like I I think that this they won 3 straight to get back over 500 or to get back to 500. Then they get a stinker in Detroit, and now a stinker in Cincinnati. I like them in this spot a lot. The cards are there for them to take it.
Right. All right. Moving on to the next game. We're going to go San Francisco 49ers taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Cody, who you got in this one?
Yeah, 49ers are 3-1 against the spread as road favorites. They're 3.5-point favorites here. Seattle stinks. Give me the 49ers.
49ers have been playing out of their minds recently. Seahawks are on the exact opposite train. Give me the 49ers.
Yeah, I mean, Shanahan and Carroll have had some amazing matchups in the past. This should be another one. Seahawks getting over a field goal. I don't hate that, but when it comes down to it, San Fran's a better team. Tough environment, tough spot, but, this is a team that I think can make a run in the playoffs, and, they'll win this game for those reasons.
Yeah, San Francisco is going to extend their winning streak to 4 games, and Seattle's going to extend their losing streak to however many it is at this point.
A lot.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it. I think Seattle wins this game.
That's completely fair.
San Fran, I know, that's why I said it. San Fran is a terrible secondary. No. Yeah, give me with confidence. Give me the Seattle Seahawks to win this game.
Okay.
Confidence.
I like that. Moving on, though, to our Sunday night football matchup, which I know some Bengals fans are still mad about, but it is the Denver Broncos versus the Kansas City Chiefs. So, Cody, can the Chiefs, who you think is going to end up as the number 1 seed in the AFC, which is completely fair, but is this going to be one of those games that help them get there?
I do think they win this game, but I think it's a lot closer than people think. I think it is going to be a great game, a game fitting of Sunday night football, and my feelings are still hurt. A lot of people call me ugly on the internet, and I'm sad. But give me the Chiefs in this one.
All I'm going to say is Javonte Williams, man. Javonte Williams is going to ball out. This game's going to be closer than people think. Everyone's riding the Chiefs, and yes, for good reason. They've been hot recently, but the Denver Broncos, they play a conservative offense. They play with a good defense. If they play with the lead, Javonte Williams is going to see some run. That Chiefs run defense is not good. I think he has a big game, but Chiefs win.
Chiefs win by a bajillion. They're going to kill him. This is coming off a bye, one of the hottest teams in the league. I don't necessarily buy Denver coming off an emotional win. They're going to kill him. They're going to kill him. This is Chiefs by 20.
Sorry, Jake. Sorry, I didn't mean to try to cut you off there.
All good.
But I really like the Chiefs as well in this game.
Yeah, Chiefs are going to win this one.
All right, moving on to our last matchup of the week that we're going to talk about. The Monday Night Football game, which we touched up on a little bit at the start of the show. New England Patriots traveling down to Buffalo to take on the Bills. This is a huge game, and this is one people are split on. So, Cody, I'm interested to hear where you're going with this one.
Circle the wagons, baby. Buffalo Bills.
Man. I'm going to take the Bills here at home. But like I said, I'm really curious to see how Mac Jones plays. He's played big primetime games against Cowboys, against the Buccaneers, but I want to see how does he play from behind, and does he make a big time mistake in the fourth quarter? But I'm gonna take the Bills.
Bills. Like I'm not saying that they're gonna go up 21 and dominate them, but I think they're gonna show that they're the better team. It'll be close to start, and then they'll pull away and comfortably take this game at home and show, okay, we're still, better. And Bills comfortably here.
One thing Marissa did say, 80% snow. The Buffalo Bills can't run the ball, though.
I really don't think snow affects whether you can run or throw that much, to be quite honest. But visually, should be a good looking game.
Aaron Rodgers threw 5 touchdowns in one game in a blizzard last year. It doesn't matter. It's Buffalo. Josh Allen played Buffalo his entire career. He's playing in snow.
Jake, all I'll say is your explanation of this game didn't sound like a whooping to me. But I'm actually going to roll with my boys and take the Patriots this week. I think them and Buffalo will split in their season matchup over the next couple weeks. It's a tough one, but I'm going to go with New England.
I'm taking the Patriots in this game with confidence too. Again, I take the Patriots. You can shake your head all you want, but I take them with confidence because the fact of the matter is they were in very similar predicament earlier a couple weeks back against the Indianapolis Colts. Terrible weather, and Josh Allen had a terrible game. I mean, the guy was throwing interceptions. They were fumbling. It was just bad. It was atrocious. The New England Patriots are the more disciplined football team.
Yes.
They're going to make a mistake. They're going to make a mistake, and as soon as they make a mistake, they're going to counter. The fact of the matter is this plays into the Patriots' hands because in games where there is inclement weather and things of that nature, it's important to be able to execute the offense. And I just think Josh Allen really struggles, when you take away some of those big plays from him. So yeah, give me the New England Patriots in this one.
All right, now we're going to preview next week's Thursday Night Football matchup. Pittsburgh Steelers traveling down to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Should be a good one, Cody.
Yeah, give me the Steelers.
No.
I just got to bet against the Vikings. I have to bet against the Vikings.
Not beating the Vikings in Minnesota.
Cody, what? How does your hatred bias you that the Vikings gonna win?
I don't hate the Vikings, man. I just have a fairly large wager on them to not make the playoffs, on the Packers to win the division, and on the Vikings under win total. So, ipso facto, go Steelers.
Go Vikings, man. Go school. Kirk Cousins did. I don't know if you guys saw that play, but he lined up behind the right guard.
Bro, what are we doing?
And see, I'm a huge Kirk Cousins fan, but it's some of those things where it's like, he makes some boneheaded decisions, man. Boneheaded mistakes.
Jake?
Wait, what are we talking? Why are we talking about the Vikings?
We're previewing next week's Thursday night game.
Oh, Thursday night. Oh, sorry. What's the game?
Steelers at Minnesota.
No, I get the Vikings. Look, the Vikings are really good. Like I've said this for a long time. They were in a terrible spot against San Fran. Awful spot against San Fran. But at home against Pittsburgh, Vikings comfortably. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I'm taking the Vikings as well in this one, though. So at least we agree, Jake. That makes up for it.
Yes, there you go. Vikings are making the playoffs.
Okay, I mean, it's wide open. But anyway, Malik, who are you taking in this game?
Vikings.
All right, so most of us agreed there. Obviously, Cody, you can take the Steelers. But, that's next week's Thursday game. Let's see what happens Sunday first. But, Malik, I want to throw it back over to you.
And I catch it. Remember that game where everybody was throwing stuff and that person would catch it and they'd throw it? Yeah, that's one of those. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for tuning in for the show each and every single Wednesday. Catch us each and every single Wednesday night back here as we discuss all things in the sports world. And, I'm excited for a great week of sports. I will be in Cincinnati for the Herbert versus Burrow Bowl, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for some football Sunday. Get to see a couple of my guys, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great. But I wish you all a great week. Enjoy a lot of the football games that go on, and we'll catch you next week live here on the Game Changer Show Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But until then, guys, take care. Have a good night. Thanks.
Get up, let me begin. This is TWSN. You ain't heard about it.